Let me thank all of you for your very, very hard work and all the work you did. I particularly want to thank Jabba Wagner, who has just been tireless in crisscrossing the state. And I'm delighted that he and Marilyn are with us tonight, and we congratulate them on their 54th anniversary, and it's just wonderful to have them here with us. I also want to thank Michael Ciamaro, who from the very beginning helped us put together a campaign here in Alabama. It's quite an evening. Obviously, we'd like to have come in first, but I want to start by saying that I congratulate Rick Santorum on a great campaign. He has won a victory in both states, and he's worked at it very hard to achieve it. I know how much he has put into this campaign, he and his entire family, over the last year, and I congratulate him on a positive evening and a positive result. I'd also point out that because this is proportional representation, we're going to leave Alabama and Mississippi with a substantial number of delegates, increasing our total going towards Tampa. And we are very grateful to you because you made that outcome possible. And with your help, we're going to take a much bigger delegation than we had yesterday. So thank you very much for that. I emphasize going to Tampa because one of the things tonight proved is that the elite media's effort to convince the nation that Mitt Romney is inevitable just collapsed. The fact is, in both states, the conservative candidates got nearly 70% of the vote. And if you're the front runner, and you keep coming in third, you're not much of a front runner. And frankly, I do not believe that a Massachusetts moderate who created Romney Care as the forerunner of Obamacare is going to be in a position to win any debates this fall, and that's part of the reason I have insisted on staying in this race. We need someone who can go toe-to-toe with Barack Obama and debate him and win the debates decisively. Now, I will always remember. That's exactly right. Anywhere, anytime. I will always remember campaigning in Mississippi and Alabama because it was here in the last week that the issue of gasoline and energy was crystallized. And while we haven't always gotten our message across in terms of getting as many votes as we'd like, we clearly were changing the national dialogue all week. If you'll notice, the president has now made 3 speeches and a press conference on energy. The White House press secretary has attacked me twice on energy. And this afternoon, we were told that the Secretary of Anti-Energy, Dr. Chu, announced this afternoon that he actually wasn't for European-level prices of gasoline. So I would say in the middle of a campaign in these 2 states, we are already impacting the national debate on a scale that all of Romney's ad money hasn't achieved. And we're doing it because ideas matter. Being able to make a principled case matters. The Reagan tradition of visionary conservatism was based on Proverbs and the very deep belief that without vision, the people perish. And I believe we need a visionary leader who is prepared to talk about a dramatically better future with dramatically more jobs, dramatically more energy, and a much safer and stronger America. I think that's the key to winning this fall. Not all this petty baloney, but the really big choices. And as I went around both states talking about $2.50 gasoline, and having all sorts of folks in the elite media say, oh, that's not possible. And then finally, on Saturday, in the Wall Street Journal, Holman's Jennings wrote a piece that it was possible. And the fact is, it is very possible. And then yesterday, Stephen Moore reported in the Wall Street Journal, and these numbers are so amazing. And I think the fact that I'm willing to talk about substance is what makes this campaign different from other campaigns and is the reason we're going to go all the way to Tampa to compete for the nomination. We need, at a time of great problems, great solutions. And great solutions require substance. And substance requires actually knowing something. It's a very important part of it. And unfortunately, virtually everything President Obama knows is wrong. Ronald Reagan used to say, it isn't what they don't know that's so frightening, it's what they know that's wrong. And he's right. And here's a case study. We were told by the U.S. Geological Survey in the 1990s that there was about 150 million barrels of recoverable oil in North Dakota. And this was the period when the liberals told us we're about to run out, we have peak oil, we're now going to decay, we have no future. Well, new drilling technology came along, and we're now told that, in fact, as of this last week, they believe there are 24 billion barrels of recoverable oil in North Dakota alone. Wow. Now, that made me feel like I had to change my speech, because up until last week, I'd been saying there was 25 times as much oil as they thought. Now it turns out the current estimate is there are 160 times, 16,000% more oil in North Dakota than they thought there was in the 1990s. And some experts believe that number is off by a huge margin, that future technology will ultimately lead us to find about 500 billion barrels of oil. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to fill you up with numbers, but I'm trying to make a point about a general direction. An American president who believed in energy and an American president who believed in science and technology would drive the price of gasoline below $2.50, would eliminate our dependence on the Middle East, and we would never, ever again bow to a Saudi king. So you have my promise. At a time when I hope this evening we have ended any news media talk of the inevitability of their hand-picked candidate. At a time when we can forget about trying to nominate a Massachusetts moderate and start talking about, when the primaries are over and it's clear no one person has won, who would do a best job of representing America, governing, and winning the election against Barack Obama. And let me just close with this observation, that something that Senator Wagner had said earlier. That's really, I hope all of you will take to heart. And I am very grateful, both in Mississippi and in Alabama. Cliff and I have had just wonderful relationships and friendships. And my daughters, Kathy and Jackie's husband, Jimmy, we've all had a terrific time here. Jimmy's already gotten out of Ray Scott a commitment to go bass fishing, and I think that Ray has indicated he thought that he could give Jimmy a fairly good afternoon of bass. So that, I mean, from Jimmy's standpoint, this is already a great, successful evening. And but we've all been out campaigning. We've all had a wonderful response, and we're all very, very grateful. I want to tell you just a second, what will become a challenge is we'll now have 3 or 4 days of the news media, and they'll all say, why doesn't Gingrich quit? These are the same people, by the way, who said last June that I was dead. You know, they recycle this every 6 weeks. And the biggest challenge will be raising money, because we came in second, which isn't as much as we wanted, and we will have gotten delegates. We'll get, between Santorum and myself, we will get over 2/3 of the delegates, and the so-called front runner will get less than 1/3 of the delegates. But they'll have all this talk. The person who gives me hope and who makes me stay in this race and makes me committed to carrying ideas all the way to Tampa is Samuel Samford. Samuel Samford is an unemployed person who decided, after hearing my speech either on C-SPAN or on the internet, that he really liked what I was trying to do on gasoline. And we talk about the fact you can go to newt.org and you can give 1 gallon of Newt gas. That's $2.50. And so Samuel heard the speech the other day, and he went online and he gave $2.50. And he became number 175,000 donors. Now, Romney has all these Wall Street millionaires, many of whom, frankly, are using the money you sent them as a taxpayer to buy ads to attack people. But he's got the money. We're not going to compete with Romney for money. But he doesn't have people. We have 175,000 donors, over 90% of them, 95% of them given less than $250. So since he was number 175,000, I called Samuel Samford, and it was actually a very humbling call. I got him in the afternoon after he'd come home from his cancer treatment. He's currently unemployed. He took out of his savings the $250 because he wants to be part of helping save America. Now that, to me, was such a humbling conversation. The dedication he had to America, his commitment to a people's campaign, his unwillingness to give up and let the millionaires roll over him, meant just an immense amount to Callista and me. So I want all of you to know that with your help, if you'll talk to your friends and neighbors, if you go back on Facebook, if you will Twitter, if you'll use email, we will continue to run a people's campaign. I believe after the primaries are over, it'll be obvious that the so-called front runner, in fact, didn't get there. And from that point on, we'll be in a whole new conversation. Thank you, good luck, and God bless you.